We made it! This is the final video I'm making for Toronto International Film Festival 2020. One of the films I saw was Pieces of a Woman from the director of White God. Now, White God is the only other film I've seen from this director, and although I remember appreciating it, I wasn't exactly blown away by it. I guess it also didn't help just how deceptively marketed it was. His newest film, Pieces of a Woman, however, is very memorable and incredibly impressive. This movie has a very talented cast of actors that deliver pretty fantastic performances. Shia LaBeouf hasn't been great in every movie, but he really shines with his character acting in this film. Ellen Burstyn's performance is amazing, with a few moments that really let her shine, and Vanessa Kirby's performance feels really complex and haunting. I should also mention that Molly Parker is in the film, and she does a great job as usual. This film also features a small role from Benny Safdie, who I always enjoy seeing. This film is also very well shot. Throughout the film, there are plenty of scenes that feature impressively long single takes. Both the actors and camera work are coordinated with each other in a masterful way. The combination of excellent performances with the impressive and engaging camera work makes for a very impactful experience. This is a very uncomfortable film that expertly captures genuine emotion. The characters are natural and believable, and even small roles feel important and fleshed out. Now, unfortunately, there is a point in the film where one of the characters becomes completely unrelatable within an instant. Perhaps this is just personal preference, but it felt a bit too rushed and sudden in how it was presented. It kind of just came out of nowhere, and it was a little jarring. The biggest issue I have with this film would have to be the music. There are many scenes where music is used and it actively takes away from the impact of the scene. I really wish the music was used more sparingly, because although there were points where it was appropriately used, there were other points where it was not. Some of the music also felt way too familiar to the point of it being distracting. Regardless, the achievements of this film well outweigh its flaws, and there's a good chance that people won't be bothered by the same things I was. And just a heads up, you should probably not read the synopsis or watch the trailer, because it's kinda spoilery, and I think the movie's better experienced just going in blind. This was overall a fantastic and very impressive film that I'm excited to see again, and I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. Another film I saw was Shiva Baby. This is the feature-length directorial debut from writer-director Emma Seligman. This is a dark comedy about a college student attending a Jewish funeral, and at this funeral she runs into an individual that she did not expect to be there. From that point on, she has to make up stories so that her parents won't discover her double life. It is a pretty hilariously awkward movie that I had an absolute blast watching. This film is intentionally stressful, but also in a very funny way. The soundtrack has a great energy and brings an almost sinister-sounding tone. The movie has a great sense of humor, and the conflict of the film is hilarious from the get-go. I experienced some genuine laughs watching this movie, and it would have been great to see it in a theater. There are some good performances in this film, and the lead actor is very funny. The film has great writing and characters. It's a very accessible film that I expect most people to enjoy. It had a great pacing, and it was entertaining throughout. There were some points where I felt as though the film could use a bit more wide shots. This is most likely just the result of filming in tight spaces. Still, the filmmaking has infinitely more personality than a Judd Apatow film, and the tight framing does add to the anxiety and uncomfortable situations presented in the film. There's at least one scene that has some interesting color and lighting choices. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and I imagine most people who watch it will as well. If you're looking to watch a hilarious movie with great writing and characters, then I'd suggest checking this one out, and I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. And the final film I still have yet to talk about from Toronto Film Festival 2020 is Fireball: Visitors from Darker Worlds. This is the latest documentary from filmmaker Werner Herzog. What I love about Herzog documentaries is that he's always so clearly passionate about the subjects he covers, and rather than just getting a straightforward collection of information, Herzog presents his documentaries in a very emotional and spiritually poetic way. His presentation is always so compelling and fascinating and cinematic. There's some really awesome music throughout the film that helps the emotional experience. The tone of the music often feels angelic, much like the music used in Encounters at the End of the World. There are also some great characters being interviewed in this film, and just like Herzog, they are very clearly passionate about what they're discussing. This film delves into organizations that keep an eye on meteors and asteroids to make sure they don't crash into the Earth. It talks about their impact on culture and history and religion and death. There's also a section on quasi-crystals, which is really interesting. This is a documentary that feels almost like a religious experience, and it manages to be both soulful and scientific at the same time. What really thrives in his documentaries is the presentation reputation. It's abundantly clear that I would not be nearly as invested or entertained if this same subject was tackled by someone else. Herzog is not only intriguing and thoughtful, but he also has a great sense of humor. Anyway, I loved this film quite a lot, and I thought it was beautiful and transcendent. Check it out whenever you can, and I'll definitely be seeing this one again. And I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. Alright, that does it for the Quickies for Toronto Film Festival 2020. My main priority right now is the Lion King review, which is probably going to be over 2 hours long. I know I didn't expect it to be that long, but it's looking like that's what's happening right now. It's looking pretty inevitable. I'm sorry. This is a gigantic project. There's a lot to fucking talk about in this stupid movie. I hate it. So yeah, check out the YMS Highlights channel if you want to see some of the progress on that, I guess. I'm trying my best to get it done, and I am also trying not to burn myself out during this pandemic, so please be patient. It will be ready when it's ready. And on top of that, I'll be releasing quickies for the films I saw at Vancouver Film Festival, which I still haven't gotten to yet. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for those things I mentioned, and I guess I'll record another commentary thing soon, and I guess you can also check out my podcast where I talk about movies with Ralph the Movie Maker, and I hate everything. It's called Sardonicast. Maybe you should check that out. We talk about movies there. Thank you. Bye. Oh my god, look at the tanks! Oh no! These tiny ass warthogs, they died!